Hello and welcome to Mastering Local Marketing. My name is Matt Hansen. I am the host. I am here today with Len Ward, who is a managing partner at Comexis. He helps businesses leverage AI technologies to enhance their marketing, customer engagement, and growth. Len, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So Len and I were talking a little bit earlier, and we're talking about AI today, right? So will AI dominate in 2025? I know I use it a lot. Len was just talking about how he's having his bathroom redone. If we could turn AI over to that and get it done faster, I'm sure he'd be happy right now.
Be great.
But Len, give us a little bit, 2 seconds of who you are and what you do.
Yes, I'm the managing partner of Comexis. So Comexis was kind of a full scale service digital marketing agency, SEO, pay per click, website design, social. And over the last 2.5, 3 years, we have now migrated to an AI first agency where we're now helping clients incorporate AI into their workday, whether it's marketing or certain types of business services. We like to say we come in and help create your next 5 virtual employees. So marketing is the entry point because it's easy and we can understand that and we can build those things. And then we start spreading out our AI tentacles from there once we're in there and working with them.
Love it. Yeah, and a lot of people are afraid of AI, but I see it as a huge opportunity. I had a conversation yesterday with one of the people that I work with, and they were asking me, how do you use it? How do you leverage it? And basically, what I was telling them is something that would take me 2 hours before is now taking me 2 minutes. So it's speeding up the process and all that. But from your perspective, what do you see as the biggest opportunity in marketing moving forward when it comes to AI?
Leveraging its intelligence. Too many people I feel are using AI to write blogs, create content calendars, clean up emails, maybe you're even, inadvertently trying to search for a product or you're searching for something on how to market certain things. But when you leverage it, when you combine Google Analytics, when you build a custom GPT, when you start running deep research and you really train these models on what their product is, what their demographic is, what their goals are, and leverage the intelligence, you realize you're not just the only smart digital marketing person in the room, that you have, this machine in front of you that's vastly smarter than you. And it's almost like having like a round table of somebody, of like everybody with 50 years experience in marketing. So long-winded answer, I think leveraging it for intelligence opposed to leveraging it for tasks, I think is the wide openest opportunity right now for AI.
Right. I think a lot of people approach it like that and they think, oh, well, I'll just put something into Chat GPT or one of the others, right? And really just give me blog posts and give me all of this type of stuff. But there's really a lot of intelligence in there that you can leverage. And I don't think, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like people don't quite understand the capabilities of it. And we sit back and we look at it from a high level and we don't try to understand it. There's a lot of fear out there, which I get. It's something new. I mean, we had the same thing when the internet popped up, right?
Yep.
But where we're at today is people just don't understand it and the capabilities, and I think that's limiting. So I mean, we deal with a lot of small businesses, and when it comes to small businesses, again, it's one of those things where they just don't understand. So we're always trying to give nuggets in each episode as to how they can go about that. So what you're saying is, you can go with the Chat GPT type style of producing blog posts and social media
Mhm.
calendars and things like that. But from your perspective, what are some of the areas that you think they should be focusing on?
So I think maybe I'm going to try to answer this in a different way. I
Sure.
think the biggest issue we're facing right now, why people are either afraid of ChatGPT or using it the way they're using it, is because for 25 plus years we've been in this search mentality.
Uh-huh.
If you have a problem, if you have a question, you go search for an answer on Google. I'm old enough to be around when first started digital marketing. There's 25 different search engines, not just Google. But you would go to Google and you were like, "Oh, just Google it and find an answer." So we're typically in this search and retrieve mentality. Search for an answer. We're going to look through the 40 blue links and figure out what I'm going to, try to build my answer. And we're moving over to a solve my problem world. So think of Alexa, think of Siri, but like vastly more intelligent, vastly better. And I think that's the main problem people are facing. Like we deal with small clients too. When we deal with them, they're like, "Oh, I use ChatGPT," and like we even had one client who was a great client. I'm not coming up. in ChatGPT. And I'm like, well, it's not a search engine. That's not what it's meant to do. It's not going to right now drive you business. If anything, if you are able to solve a problem, it's going to crawl your website, crawl your content, your data room, which we can talk about later. And you're going to be able to help solve the problems of somebody asking a question on ChatGPT. So I think that's the biggest problem right now. And it's trying to educate your team from top to bottom, or educate, who your staff or whatever it may be, and letting them know that it's not a search engine. It's more meant to solve a problem. So what type of problem are we looking at? What data sets are we trying to figure out? What processes are we trying to, maybe, automate and so forth. I think that's the biggest problem that AI is facing right now. I don't know if that answered your question, but it's
Yeah,
kind of,
no, no, definitely. Um, the other thing that I hear a lot is when we integrate some of these technologies and we try to use them, how do we maintain that balance of being personal, of being having the human element in there, right? So everyone thinks AI is computers and all of this, but it is. But how do we maintain that personality, that human being kind of integration into AI as we use it in business?
well, we like to tell clients all the time. One of the things about AI is, and if anybody has flown, listened to this podcast, and I'm sure they have, you may or may not be aware of it, but the pilots aren't really flying those planes. A lot of times the plane is an automate and it's flying. Kind of scary to think about, but the pilot is still there in case, obviously they're going to take off, they're going to land, they're going to monitor the situation, they're going to make sure this thing's getting to where it needs to be. And I think that has to translate over into how we're dealing with AI. We have to let them know that yes, AI is operating. Yes, it is. It is moving. What a lot of us believe, it is going to be autonomous and it will be handling human tasks. But I am of the firm belief that humans will always be in control, much the same way as a plane. I believe AI is going to be the same way. So I think if you can kind of build your AI strategy around that, as you're using it more, think of yourself as a pilot and how a pilot does communicate, with the passengers and so forth. Really bad analogy, but I think that's one way to really kind of think about AI. Like, talk to your clients. Like, okay, if you have clients you're using AI for, tell them how you're using AI. Tell them how it's automated the situation. And the biggest fear, if you are a business owner who's using AI, is, well, my clients don't want to pay for something that could get happen real quick, but or that AI can do, autonomously. Yes, but you had to teach yourself and you had to train yourself to be able to deliver that, fast moving product to your clients. So yes, you can charge for that. But that's kind of the way I would do it. So we always come back and we use the pilot analogy for clients, and they get it right away.
Right. I get it because I just got off a flight 2 days ago, and the flight was smooth above the clouds, but when the pilot took back over, we flew into heavy winds and everything else and landed pretty hard. So
I can't, it's funny, not to get off topic. I have not talked to one person. I got to go fly in 2 weeks. I have not talked to one person who's told me that had a nice flight in the last year. It's like everything is rough right now out there. So
yeah,
what are you
well,
going to do?
coming into Midway when you land in the middle of a neighborhood is always fun on short runways. So
Yeah.
you land hard, you hit the brakes, and you get thrown forward, and it is what it is. But
Yeah.
I won't. Everything is good.
Yes. I'm still getting on a plane. So should
Still
everybody
getting,
else. Yeah.
yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've helped businesses use AI technologies like chatbots and custom GPTs. How can small to medium sized businesses start integrating AI without overcomplicating like their operations?
The number one thing they need to do, I think, is start organizing all their data, all their processes, all their menus, all their brochures, every single piece of what they would consider data. And data is everything. Data, if
Uh-huh.
you've typed up a note and put it in your computer somewhere, maybe you have files and you haven't digitized that yet. What you want to do is you want to build a data room. So if you're a huge company, you can go to a company like Snowflake. If you're a regular sized company, you can just use Google Drive or Dropbox, and that's a data room. And you basically start organizing all of your information there, all of your sales information, all of your marketing information, and so forth. Just start having a repository where you have this information ready to go. Because as AI scales, as AI and new platforms emerge, they're going to want to plug quickly into your data to be able to crawl that. And that is one of the very first ways we tell clients to say, look, get ready. And then after that, the second thing is, as much as you've always had Google open up on your, your laptop or your computer, have a chat GPT ready to go. And I think the best way to go about it is take an hour a day and just start interacting with ChatGPT. Now, you can use Claude, you can use Llama. We prefer ChatGPT because it's just easier. I believe That's going to be the Google of the search engines. Remember there was Yahoo and Excite and all that. ChatGPT is going to be the emerging one, I believe. And start interacting with it. Start asking it questions. Upload a couple data sets. See what it comes back with. And don't overwhelm yourself. And remember, it's not infallible. It's not definitive. And anything that it does produce, you do want to, really take a look at it and make sure that it is accurate. But slow baby steps, organize your data, and start interacting with it. It's probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, data, we push data a lot here. A lot of KPIs, understanding your business, really tracking a lot of data because obviously you need it to make decisions. Yeah, I had a conversation yesterday about data sets, and we were asking, and we had all of this presentation in front of us, and it was great, but it was unfortunately we didn't have all of the data, right? So if we had all of the data, it would have been amazing, but you got to kind of look at it differently in that regard. But anyways, I digress. For those that are skeptical of AI, what are some of the misconceptions that you see?
I think that one of the biggest is kind of goes back to where we were talking about the pilot thing. AI is going to take over the world. Look, I am firmly in the camp. I do believe AI is going to take some jobs. I do. I don't think there's any way around it. I think us in the marketing industry are seeing it first. I think the legal and the accounting profession is going to be a close second. And somebody used the term yesterday, which kind of scared me a little bit, but I do believe some software companies are looking at extinction level, issues here. I think all of that is going to happen. But I think, you know, you have to understand that this is just another progression of technology and so forth. I am also the camp where I believe this is one of the biggest advances we've ever made since the internet. And I think it's going to be actually 100x over what the internet ever was. Embrace it. Don't try to fight it, because the problem, like the internet for full growth, as you know and I know, it took 20-25 years for the internet to really hit full growth, and it only was COVID that actually pushed it to where it needed to be. This is moving 10 times faster. So I think they said something like ChatGPT is up to whatever 600 million users and 300 million searches a week. Those numbers are wrong. I'll have to come back to it, but that happened in 20 months. It took Facebook 6 years to even get close to that. So you have to think of the speed. So if you don't embrace it and say, hey, I'll worry about it down the road, don't do that. If there's an article that pertains to AI and that's relevant to your industry, read it. If there's a prompting class that you can jump in and take it. Just at the bare minimum, have a little bit of working knowledge as to what it is, because as marketing shifts and we have to start changing our messages to solving problems opposed to search and retrieve, when you're talking with your marketing team, you at least want to have a working understanding of what it means when they are talking about AI with an LLM world, large language models.
Yeah, technology. I was giving a presentation yesterday, and I was talking to the group, and I said technology is evolving so fast that as a human being, we cannot keep up with it. So we have to, like, we can't learn everything. Back in the day, 25 years ago, we could kind of figure out how everything was working. Technology was evolving much more slowly. Today, it's impossible. Let's be honest. I mean, there's new technology being launched every single day,
Yeah.
especially even in the AI space, right? So you've got everything from like ChatGPT. One of the tools that I was playing with a couple weeks ago was HeyGen. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but
No, not that one. No.
check out HeyGen. It basically, you can upload a script, and you take a 2 to 5 minute video of you talking into the screen, and it will create an AI generated video of you, and then you can just upload a script or you can upload an audio file. So we actually, if you go back to our YouTube channel, you'll see one. I think it was episode 15, 16. It's about email. It's entirely AI generated, so it looks like me, and I show it to people all the time, and they tell me it's a video of me, and I tell them it's all entirely AI generated. So there's all of these tools that are evolving. And a year ago, when you say AI generated video, people were laughing because you had 3 eyeballs and 17 fingers and 3 arms and all that. But it's evolving so fast that now my sources are starting to send me more and more and more, and I'm struggling just to keep up with everything that's out there. So what we talk about with our listeners many times is understand things that help you, right? So don't try to chase the latest, greatest thing that's out there.
Yeah.
Use things that are relevant to you and learn 1 two, maybe three that you can use, and don't try to chase everything. Do you agree with that?
100%. Yeah, you're never going to, because the product you're telling me is the same as, I don't know if you've ever seen Delphi.
Mhm.
Delphi sounds exactly like that or similar. So you are right. Even I pride myself on really staying on top of this stuff. And I had a background years ago where I was investment banking, and I had to digest tons of equity information. I had to go call my clients on, and they would break through the day and just start coming at you with information. So I was lucky enough to have that mind from 20 something years ago to be able to digest content quickly. I can't even remotely come close right now to digesting everything coming at us right now. You are right. So you focus on the fundamentals. Try to find out one or two podcasts you really like that talks about AI, maybe within your industry, which would be good. Try to find that email list. If you're on X, Twitter, maybe kind of just build your own list of AI and just slowly but surely, and then try to digest the stuff that's coming in. But I tell clients the fundamentals are this: 99.9% of the products that are built on AI are all built on the back of an LLM right now, which is OpenAI or Grok, or actually more like Llama. So everything is a wrapper. So as they emerge and technologies change, as the LLMs change, those wrappers, again, to use the term again, could be extinct. That's not going to work, and something else is going to come in. So yeah, but I agree, without me getting a little too, in the weeds. It is just do the best you can and just digest what you can. You're never going to get it all. It's impossible.
So that poses an interesting question, right? So we went through the dot-com bubble back in the day, and all kinds of money being thrown at everything, and everything was great and wonderful, and then all of a sudden companies were disappearing left and right.
Mhm.
Side question here: do you think that with AI we're going to see the exact same thing, where you're going to see all of these new companies popping up and they'll slowly start to scale back? Everyone's vying for that space, but I guess I'm kind of tipping my hat here in saying that I feel we're getting to a point where we're going to explode with an amount of companies that are out there, but I feel like you're going to get a retraction, so to speak, of the ones that people enjoy, and the rest are just going to kind of go by the wayside. Just my personal opinion, but what do you think on that?
I couldn't agree more. I 100% agree. I think anybody that's been in business, any amount of time, you realize there's cycles, and that's a classic cycle. And as much as I believe this is going to trump everything we've done on the internet and so forth, I think it's going to go vastly further. Yes, we are going to see a series of a bunch of products and software products that are going to come out there, wrappers per se, and there'll be a few that emerge, and then the other ones are going to go by the wayside. So yeah, that is going to happen. It's going to be very interesting to see how that goes, especially with software, because there's many people who believe in the next year you're just going to be able to type something in to OpenAI, and it's going to build you a software program right there within the next 2 years. Which, I mean, if I'm working at Salesforce, if I'm working in one of these software companies, I'm legitimately a little concerned right now. If I'm a high level developer, like a skilled, these people are some of the smartest people you're going to meet, and now you're telling me I can just type like what my vision is. Yeah, how many times we walked around and said I got a great idea for an app? Imagine just being able to type that in an open AI and it boom, it creates it for you. So yes, and if we get to that stage, it's really going to back up what you're saying. You're going to start seeing products coming at you every minute, because just think about the human mind. So yeah, you think it's noisy now, give it another year and wait to see how real noisy it's going to get.
So if there's one piece of advice you'd give small and medium sized businesses moving forward in AI, what would it be?
Embrace it. Understand that it's real. I don't think anybody in their right mind knows where it's going to go, because I think we're all trying to figure that out. Nobody knows what SEO or pay per click or anything's going to look like in the future. We have some ideas, we have some thoughts. We're beginning to migrate a little bit of our clients that way. Um, but embrace it. Do not be the person who was back in 1998 saying, I don't know about the internet, or I don't use email, write me a letter. And I sat in those meetings. I saw those people say that. This is going to move so quick, so fast, that if you're at least not up to date of what's going on, you are going to put your business in jeopardy. You will put it in jeopardy, because you might be a 100-person shop, and you might think, okay, we got all these employees and that's my strength, and you're going to have Jenny and Rebecca over on the right hand side, and they're just two people in a garage, and they have like three or four GPTs built out that's going to demolish anything you can do as a 100-person shop. But if you're the CEO, if you're a business owner, and you're aware of the battleground that's happening right now, you're going to be well aware of those two people rivals that actually will rival your 100-person shop. So, a long-winded answer: embrace it, don't fight it.
Last question.
Sure.
Any technology that you would recommend? Any companies that you think small, medium, large, you know, different
So
companies?
technology, well, I mean, obviously, I mean, ChatGPT would be the number one, but do you mean like any of the products I've seen out there?
I mean, let's somebody that has 50, 100 people, in their business. Is there any recommendations for companies, AI tools that you think you must be using at this point, other than a Chat GPT or something like that?
Well, I'm a believer that the new frontier of marketing is going to be more influencer based. I believe that we were, I wrote a blog post years ago. I believe we're at the intersection of influencer marketing and AI. And it's not that I don't think search and all that's going to die and go away, but I do think it's going to dramatically shift. So to answer that question, there's something called Opus clips out there, which you might have heard before, and everybody might have, but a lot of people haven't heard of it. If you're a business owner and you're 50, 100 people, you should be having people recording stuff at work. Your potential buyers or clients are expecting to go on TikTok and seeing interactions, expect Instagram. They're expecting you to be professional influencers in a way. Don't fight that. That's the new way messages are being communicated. And you don't have to go in and get this big editing team anymore. You can literally get a clip, put it, run through Opus. Have you seen it? It looks just like a TikTok video, and it will actually post it on there. So if you are a company, I don't think it's wise for you to be unless you want to bring in an internal, video team and you want to hire them. But with how quick videos have to be made and done, I think embracing that influencer mentality and using something like an Opus would be a little nugget I could give, clients and say, do that. It's cheap, and I think you are embracing the new world of marketing, which is influencer marketing.
Love it. All right, Len, thank you again for joining us today. This is Mastering Local Marketing with Matt Hansen. Len, I want to thank you. Where can people find you?
We are at commexis.com. Very easy. COMMEXIS.com. Just fill out a form. We'll be able to help you out with whatever you need.
Sounds good. All right, Len,
Okay.
until next time, we will see you later.
Thank you.